If I go to your channel, I should be able to see the chat, huh?
Yes, and we are live right now. Well, good
Excellent.
morning. They caught us. Good morning, everyone. We are normally on Jeff's channel. Today we're on mine because Jeff is on the road. He's in Nashville, Tennessee. So welcome to your Not Your Normal Sunday morning program.
Howdy, y'all.
Hi.
And so give me a second here, Jeff. I've got a feedback in my head. There we go. Now we're done. And we are live, by the way, guys. It's growing. So good morning, everyone. Jeff, how are you?
I am well. Thank you very much. I did about almost 1,000 miles of driving yesterday, so I'm recovering from that, but feeling really good. It's been a lot of fun.
Excellent. And by the way, we have Jennifer Collins returning with us today because of the subject matter that we're going to be talking about. Jennifer, thank you for joining us on this cold Sunday morning.
Thank you for having me, and happy holidays, Christmas Eve.
Yes. By the way, for everyone out there, how everyone celebrates this time, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. Who did I forget?
Hawaiian one? What is it?
We got someone, Jessica from London. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So, Jeff, would you talk to us about the Georgia Guidestones? You were there.
The thing that really struck me, Wayne, is it's one thing to study something. It's one thing to read about it. It's one thing to get into Google and Wikipedia and do all the study that you can about it. But to actually show up, see it, feel it, touch it, that really brings you to a completely different level. And it's just amazing. You know, after going to Coral Castle, after going to the Georgia Guidestones, there's nothing really like actually being there, being in the field, investigating it from somewhere other than an armchair. It really was quite profound.
So what kind of energy did you feel there? I mean, that's one of the things that I want to know about. It's not so much with the stones themselves, but there has to be a tangible energy to that place.
Yeah, it was interesting because I expected that at Coral Castle, but Coral Castle was rather mundane. It's just some rocks, remarkable rocks, remarkable work. But I'm convinced there was nothing supernatural. There was nothing otherworldly that took place at Coral Castle other than a remarkable man and a lot of hard work. Now, there is a ley line or something that runs right through the middle of that place that you can actually feel. But the Georgia Guidestones, that's a completely different story. That place is popping with energy. I don't know what happened at that location. I shared my opinion of it, what it was yesterday. But there's a tremendous amount of power and energy at that place. It was hard to show, trying to hold my selfie stick and the rods. But as I walked around the perimeter of that place with the rods were just nailed right to those guidestones. No matter where I went, those rods were just bam, pulled almost forcefully to those guidestones. So there's definitely a very strong energetic presence there. I had 3 different locals tell me that there was a sacrifice performed on top of the guidestones. You can see a stain they say is blood. I can't confirm that, but I'm just telling you what I was told. So there's definitely some very strong energy there. It's quite a remarkable place. I didn't feel like it was sinister, but I didn't feel like it was benevolent either.
Okay. So did you get anything in the actual reading? I think it's the 10 laws, right? The 10 new laws.
Right.
Okay. What do you think about that? I mean, you know, we've seen the documentaries, but it's, again, you were there.
Yeah, I really think that everything written on those guidestones is for disinformation. It's for misinformation. It's for misdirection. I think it's a grand counterintelligence operation.
Man-made.
Oh yeah, I'll just tell you, I'm convinced after being there that L. Ron Hubbard commissioned it, built it because he believes that's the place where Zemu originally landed on planet Earth.
Really?
Yes. And I'm 100% serious.
Okay. No. I mean, you know, there's so many, you got so much disinformation out there. And welcome everyone. As y'all can see, the room is just filling up quickly. It's I don't know. Is it mind coitus, or is it really something that's kind of trying to tell us something? I don't know. Our L. Ron Hubbard was a very strange dude. That's all I got to say.
He was definitely an interesting fellow.
I remember in the 80s, the EST thing that was going around. Now, interesting enough, I had a law firm back in the day. And what was really weird was that almost all of the principal partners got into this EST thing. And I remember going to their first meeting, and did you ever attend, Jennifer, did you ever attend an EST meeting back in the 80s?
No, I have not.
Okay, Jeff, how about yourself? I mean,
Erhard seminars training. I never went to one. Back then I was, crazy, red hot, blood bought Pentecostal evangelist. I was even preaching against Disney World, so there's no way I would have gone. And I'm serious about that.
I love this guy.
Only Jeff.
I'll tell you.
And there was a lot of us. I mean, we preached against bowling. We preached against the movies. We preached against Disney World, NFL, NBA, all of that. Worldliness.
I could actually make a comment on that, but I'll take the proverb that says, even a fool seems wise who keeps his mouth shut.
Right.
Well, anyway, to get to the point, the first time I went into one of that meeting, I mean, I left that thing and thinking these people are just freaking nuts because it was filled with anger. It was filled with what I call just a brutal, I don't know. The best way I could tell this was that it was an intellectual rape is what it kind of did. It was forced to bring you down. And then, of course, all this EST was supposed to help you, enlighten you. So, yeah. So final thoughts on the Guidestones, Jeff, as you left. The locals, I mean, were there a lot of people there, or was it still kind of just this isolated place out in the middle of nowhere?
The local people, they don't care about it whatsoever. In fact, they're a little bit irritated by it. But the thing that was amazing to me is literally, Wayne, if you don't have GPS, it would be impossible for you to find this. You couldn't find it with just regular paper maps, which is one of the reasons why it wasn't built by Ted Turner. It wasn't built by anybody that wanted that monument to be seen. That monument is there just to commemorate that place. And anything that's put on it, again, in my opinion, is misinformation, disinformation. But the locals that, I talked to probably 10 people, and I had about 5 people, we don't care. And then I had, 3 or 4 others, share commentary about it. But yeah, it's an amazing place. And I definitely think whether you believe Zemu is real or not, Hubbard believed he was real, and Hubbard believed that was the place where Zemu first landed on planet Earth. And that's why he's there. And I happen to have read some of Hubbard's fiction too. And now that I've been there and seen it, I can see that Hubbard, even in his fiction, is talking about this story.
And that's an angel, right? Isn't that what Hubbard thought?
Zemu is kind of the lord or the leader of an alien race that came and conquered planet Earth. So he's an Anunnaki.
I was going to say, wait a minute. We didn't know the Anunnaki back in the 80s.
That's exactly what it is. It's just
wow.
Hubbard's version of the Anunnaki and Planet X, pretty much.
Now that's interesting, Jeff. I have to say, you really brought another perspective on this whole thing.
The Hubbard Nakis.
Yeah, think about
the Ramanaki. There we go. The Ramanaki.
The Ramanaki.
I feel another show coming on.
Yeah, I just, this is what happens when you get creative people together all in the same. Well, I just want to say hello, Jeff Schubert. Hello, Carmen. I mean, folks, this thing is just, it's getting more crowded. All right. It kind of ties into exactly what, I did the headline of the show to be, Jeff and Jennifer, was to talk about, and it's my opinion, I'll just set this for the whole audience today, is that I believe that we are in the middle of disclosure. I'm convinced of it. Jennifer, you wanted to bring in something. Let's talk.
We are. It definitely, I mean, why after all these years are they starting to give some information out there? And I believe it's headed towards disinformation or fear tactic. That's where I see it going. You know, it's just, I believe they're going to set up like a threat for new weapons. It's going to be kind of a control narrative, like a Star Wars, like a threat to our planet to try to get us all to, you know, it's like psychological warfare or control.
Go on with this. Is interesting.
It could be the agenda of the New World Order. And honestly, like I said on Jeff's show the other day, they've been around for decades and nothing's happened. So if they do disclosure, it's so they can control the narrative. They want to control the information that they disclose, and therefore they own it. And they can say in what direction it's going to go. And chances are a lot of people are going to believe them. And there's a lot of information all over the internet right now, and it's a little bit confusing because there's a lot of theories. Like they're all malevolent or they're all benevolent, and or there is no mix. And you know, we have seen in the past, you know, natural disasters and things that have happened on this planet, because I believe that there is the draconian race that's out there, the archons and things like that. But there's so many more that are out there that are for us and protecting us. Like I said on Jeff's show the other day about the, you know, nuclear reactors and everything like that. They've literally stopped us from, you know, we're the ones that are actually destroying a lot of things. They're not. So, you know, this is kind of where the information is going to. But there's the whole nother, you know, new Independence movie. If you watch that trailer, it's so real with, you know, using the logos from our government to try to show what the narrative is going to be, that they're, you know, they're bad and they're going to attack us. And, you know, it's just an epic thing like Star Wars or for total control. I mean, I made a few notes here. The military is the one that's going to profit from that. And like I said, that's just my theory. And, you know, they're the if you want to call them ETs, aliens, whatever, star children, their technology is so advanced, Wayne, that if they wanted to do something, we're gone. We would have been gone. So that's really, you know, what I feel.
Okay. All right. Cool. I think you're right on with it.
But we're not going to know everything. You know, we're just not.
No. Okay. Well, it's actually y'all's show Friday night. I mean, on Wednesday was really what prompted this. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is that I believe that for the first time, we are now seeing what I think is, in fact, I think full disclosure by our government. And I think I did something here that I didn't want to do. Oh, there we are. Folks, I'm looking at two different monitors here, so give me 1 second. All right, can you
we have some viewers from Ecuador, Wayne?
Huh?
There's some viewers from Ecuador in the room.
Well, good. I guess, is it morning, afternoon? Be morning, right?
Good morning.
Yeah, it'd still be morning. Well, good morning. Can y'all see this?
Indeed.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're going to go large screen. I want to play this interview from Tucker Carlson because here's my contention, folks. I believe that the Trump administration is, in fact, forcing local media now to reveal and finally make what I would call a back office admission to the existence of UFOs. That is, I think, what everybody has been waiting for, is that when the United States government comes forward to the world and says these things are real, they're not of here, but not do it directly officially, but do it through what we would call second sources, such as the media outlet. All right. So let's just play this real quick. Can you hear that? Can you hear that? Okay.
Yeah.
Commander David Fravor spent 18 years as a naval aviator pilot. In 2004, he had an unforgettable encounter with an aircraft he said was defying the laws of physics. former Commander Fravor joins us tonight. Thanks a lot for coming on tonight. Tell us what you saw.
Well, we had launched on a routine training mission. When we joined up, we were told that the event was going to be canceled, and that we were world tasking, and we were sent out to the west. Now, take in mind that this has taken place about 100 miles southwest of San Diego, between San Diego and Ensenada, Mexico.
Yeah.
On a clear, perfect day, blue waters. We get out to the spot where they tell us it's at, and we start looking around, and both airplanes see a disturbance in the water and a white 40-foot long tic-tac shaped object just hovering above the water, going forward, back, left, right. There's no rotor wash, there's no wings, nothing. So as we drive around in a clockwise flow, we get to about the 9 o'clock position, and I said, well, I'm going to go down and check it out, and the other jet is going to stay high. So as we go down, when we get to the 12 o'clock position, it starts to mirror us. So it's in a clockwise flow, and it's on the opposite side of the circle from us. And we continue this. It's in a climb. We're in a descent. We're getting a great look at it. This whole thing takes about probably up to 5 minutes from the time we show up. I get over to the 8 o'clock position. It's at about the 2 o'clock position, and I decide I'm going to go and see what it is, and it's about 2,000 feet below me. And I cut across the circle, and as I get within about a half mile of it, it rapidly accelerates to the south in about 2 seconds.
Did you see there's a whole fleet of them?
What would you estimate the speed?
Yeah.
Oh, well above supersonic. It like a bullet out of a gun. It took off.
So from what you know about aerodynamics, mechanics, physics, should this be possible, what you saw?
Not with the technology that we have today. Not at all.
Even now, even 13 years later, is there anything that you know of capable of this kind of behavior?
No, there's nothing I know of. I mean, when we saw the video with the IR, it has no exhaust, no discernible things of anything form of propulsion. And this thing came from a dead hover over the water, just kind of moving around, to a climb up to about 12,000 feet to rapidly accelerating away in a climb. And in less than 2 seconds, it was gone. And you figure you're talking 50 miles of visibility, and you can easily see an object that size easily out to 10 miles, and it just disappeared in seconds.
What would be the effects on a human pilot of the G-forces involved in that altitude change?
Well, the altitude wouldn't be bad. It would be the acceleration of the object.
That's right.
Honestly, I wanted to fly it. Talking to some physicists, they don't think the human body could handle that kind of force. But
it doesn't sound like the human body could. So bottom line, what do you think this was?
I believe, as do the other folks that were on the flight, that when we visually saw it, that it was something not from this world.
Bingo.
When presumably you expressed that belief to your superiors, what did they say?
Actually, we caught a lot of grief getting back to the boat, and it got passed off as an event that no one could explain. Now, keep in mind, they had been tracking these for 2 weeks prior to us seeing it, and this was the first time that manned airplanes had been airborne when the objects appeared.
So there you go. What do you think? Jeff, I know that have you seen this before?
Yeah, I actually did a video on this like 3 days before it broke, and
with the pilot?
Over 10,000 views on it. So yeah.
With the pilot.
What do you mean?
The pilot interview with Carlson Tucker.
Oh, no, I haven't seen that. But he did forever destroy my stereotype of fighter jocks. I have to tell you that.
Yeah.
Not exactly Maverick, is he?
No, but I've known a couple of them. So here's the deal. I think, and we've got a full chat room in here, and it's still continue to grow. This is my contention, Jennifer and Jeff, is that was an official disclosure made to the world right there.
Yeah, that was the demarcation right there.
That's my whole point. And Anna says soft disclosure. I think that could be an interesting thing as well. But Jeff and Jennifer, I guess what I'd like to bring out to here, if we're seeing disclosure, if we're seeing now an admittance that there is a intellectual, I don't know if you want to call this extraterrestrial, I don't know how you really want to define it, outside the nomenclature that we're used to hearing this. But what does this have? Jeff, I want to talk to you. What do you think this would have, for instance, on the religious community? I mean, if you're getting a mission now that there are aliens, beings, flying technology that is above ours, I just like to get your perspective from 40 years.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard. It's going to be a very tough tic tac or pill to swallow for the religious community, because by and large, the religious community would say there are no aliens. We're the only ones. God didn't talk about them. They're not in the Bible. So it's going to create a real problem for the religious community. And I have a little bit of a different take on it than you two. I think it's an indication that the powers that be, the agenda that they've been spinning, to me, it's an indication that it's coming unraveled. They're in a panic mode. They're having to accelerate their timelines. They didn't want to do anything like disclosure. I think they know that they're losing the battle. There's too much information getting out. And unfortunately, a lot of times, like an animal that gets backed into a corner, they're acting out of desperation, and sometimes that can be dangerous. So I see it as a indication that those of us in this community are doing our job. We're getting out information that they don't want out. And this is full-blown panic mode. I expect to see panic mode from the Catholic Church. I expect to see panic mode from all the dark budget projects like the secret space program, etc. And I think it's an indication that we are forcing the agenda. We are winning. And this is kind of like the last great acts of defiance before their whole agenda unravels.
Interesting. Do you think that they could basically, how should we say, recruit the religious community to, I guess what I'm trying to say is actually to use this to their advantage? The ones that, I guess we could say that, what is this? Is this the shadow governments? Are this the people who've known about this for God knows how long?
Well, think about it, Wayne. The religious community, the leaders of the religious community are already bought and paid for. What would Osteen and Hagee and all these guys do if the government says, hey, look, you're going to help us break this. You're going to help us use, the book of Romans, follow the leaders that are placed in power over you by God. You're going to help us break this agenda. You're going to help us move these people into accepting it, or you're going to lose your 501c3 status. So they've already got them over a barrel. They've already got them bought and paid for. Paul's already created the narrative that you are to trust the government and believe what the government says, or even killed is what Paul says. So you're going to start seeing all of that being very much activated. And these preachers are already bought and paid for. So it's time for them to start singing for their supper.
Could it be, Jeff, that this is maybe the background narrative that I'm hearing, is that there has been a portal open and there's a rush of demons coming? People are trying to say, the CEO of D-Wave Computer, Gordy Rose, says that there is a tsunami of demons coming. This is my concern, is that they're going to turn what I think could be a very peaceful situation potentially into a very dangerous situation.
But they're already doing it. You can see the Catholic Church is in the midst of this explosion of exorcism. That's all they're talking about. Exorcism, because they're trying to scare people back into the church. The churches are emptying in droves. The last card they got to play is there's demons everywhere. We're the only ones that can take care of them. And oh, wait, not only is there demons, there's aliens coming too. So you better run home to somebody who can protect you, little boys and girls.
Yeah, because you don't know about the aliens. We've taught you about the demons. They're bad. They're going to come and kick your butt. But now, if we associate demons with demons bias, I'm sorry. I saw Scotty Hall just make a comment that cracks me up. That's why I don't read sometimes the chat room. I get distracted. But this is my concern. I was up last.
I wasn't sure if he was talking about the Catholics there or demons.
I wasn't sure. Was it the demons or the Catholic Church? Maybe they're one and the same. I don't know. Oh, you're going to go to hell for that one. Anyway, Jennifer, you're sitting there grinning. What's your take on that?
Well, I remember the Pope saying if they touch down here, they want to baptize them and they'll save them.
All right. Are you putting me on, or is this serious?
No, serious. They said they would welcome him,
He did say that. He was talking about evangelizing extraterrestrials.
Oh, really?
Well, they
Yeah.
have the
Okay.
Lucifer, Wayne, they have the Lucifer telescope down here in Mount Graham or something in
Yep.
Arizona,
Yep.
infrared. And what does that tell you they're waiting for? Who they're waiting for? Whatever, the Draconians to come.
Ooh, so and see, this brings this whole thing. This is why I love this subject. It's deep. I think that we are in the middle of disclosure, and look what it's doing to us. I mean, my conversation that I've been thinking is just like you just said here. The Pope wants to evangelize them.
And this is fun, but honestly, Wayne, we don't know the whole narrative, but it could go many ways, and it's great to talk about all the ideas of what it can do so we can just be prepared. But either way, they're trying to distract us. I mean, you've got North Korea, you've got everything going on with Hillary. They're trying to impeach Trump. They've got all these indictments going on. And what a better way. Do you remember what Reagan said years ago on the podium? He said, if there ever was an alien, not invasion, I can't remember the words he used, we would all have to come together. It would bring us all together. It would be a game changer. And that's another possibility.
He was talking to the United Nations, and he actually did say if we faced an invader from outside this world.
Yep.
So you see this, right? We all know what this is. By the way, actually, I heard this from Tyler over at Secure Team. This thing is red. Did you know that?
It's red?
It's red.
Wow.
So I have been reading more and more that a lot of legends that apparently many of them think that this is potentially a scout ship. Now, I'm just throwing this out here. It's got characteristics of an asteroid. We know that it's puzzled. It come from a part of space that should never even came from. Its whole trajectory is different. So they can call this an asteroid, but I still contend, and I happen to agree that how would we know what an interstellar spaceship would look like?
True. Can I make one more point, Wayne?
Yes.
Now, when I saw this on a show, there is a place, and they have a YouTube channel, I don't know, but they track with radar every little comet, every little asteroid that came in, and then they show this little graph that shows like little bleeps when little ones. It was just a few weeks ago, they said, we don't know what entered in, because it was the longest, sound of something coming into our atmosphere. There's a lot of things going on, Wayne.
I think this could be. Jeff, what's your thought on this?
It looks natural to me. I would say that it's natural.
You see, that's why we have the audience we do is growing, is because we have the balance of opinion here. And this is what I like. And this is how we arrive. So who knows? This may or may not be what they say. It's hard to sometimes determine, but I think that something is definitely going on, I think, all around us. I think we can all agree on that.
Well, there's a lot of smoke, Wayne, and I believe there's some fire that's causing that smoke.
Yeah, and that's what my whole thing is. So I wanted to bring out one other thing here, and I know, Jeff, I think you may have had this one. So the Harry Reid part to this, I've been doing, because I have people who are in Washington.
And you know where Harry Reid's from, right?
Nevada, isn't it?
He's from Searchlight, Nevada.
My. I had a friend who said, if you want to know anything, just follow the money trail, because that's what's going to go back. So think about this. This is what my friend said. He said, think about this. Harry Reid, this time last year, remember, had the accident and, decided he wasn't going to run. But before he left, he wanted to make sure that there was money going to this project that apparently, folks, has been going for a long time. They just haven't disclosed it. So, again, I think that this is, I'm just trying to build the case that I think that we are in the middle of full disclosure. I think the next thing we're going to see is probably an announcement that there is a potential fleet. I don't know. I could be wrong. One last.
When I was doing my drive up to the Georgia Guidestones, I was listening to Coast, and Jimmy Church was the guest host that night.
Yeah.
And he made a very interesting statement. He said, with all of the information that we're now seeing, with all of the data that we now have, that we don't even really need disclosure. We already know that there's visitors to this planet from some realm or another, and disclosure is almost, it's almost, it's not a big deal anymore. We know that it's real.
And something else that they said too is people are kind of like sleeping because all these things are coming out and they're just going back and doing whatever it is that they normally do. It's no big deal anymore because there's been so much going on. They're desensitized, Wayne.
Yes.
And they just don't care, fine. All right. Another UFO, another this, it's part of what they're setting up. They're not really talking about it and going, let's, talk about it. Everybody needs to wake up. No, they're sleeping. They're all sleeping.
Okay. I can see that. By the way, when you were talking about the desensitization, Jeff, that's what they do in a lot of times in a lot of different cults, right?
Absolutely.
Same process, right?
Absolutely.
And what's the net result for that?
It could very well be, you know what, guys, it's not, the disclosure may not be like, oh, they're coming. The disclosure might be, guess what, folks, they've been here for years and we just haven't told you. So don't get excited. There's nothing new happening. We just want to let you know they've been here. They're already helping us. They're already working with us. Don't be afraid. Or they've been here. We were working with them. Now they're trying to take over. You got to run to us for help.
Go ahead, Jennifer. You want to say something? Because this is a great segue because what you're going to be doing. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just waiting for them to get their roster out and go, okay, now here's part of our disclosure. Wayne, Jeff are aliens. It's in their DNA, their blood type, and then you know what? It's us against them.
I already know I'm from
Mars. Theirs, huh?
I already know I'm from Mars.
Right, I know.
Well, I can tell you in my lifetime, I've been told to go to hell so many times that, who knows?
Well, hell's on Mars, Wayne. No
oh, there you go.
So, well, I don't feel like this is our planet anymore.
Well, my people often refer to my heritage as Uranus or something like that.
Oh my goodness.
No, that's just funny, folks. So while y'all have been talking, because I'm listening as like the audience is, and I'm sitting back here and I'm going, these guys are making a pretty good case. I mean, you think about it, Jennifer, from your perspective. By the way, you have been invited to do some research this summer, right?
Right, at Etsy Ranch.
Okay, talk to them about that.
Assetti Ranch. I get dyslexia sometimes. Assetti Ranch. It's a Gilliland's ranch up in Mount Adams, and they have the most UFOs coming in around that property. So you can check it out on my website on Artist First Radio Show Network, and they'll be up in the next week because I'm interviewing him January 1st, actually. So.
Excellent. Now, is that the one where they've actually seen the UFOs go into the mountain itself?
Yes, I think I sent you a video on that.
Yes, you did. So, Jeff, are you familiar with this location?
I'm not a huge UFO guy. I'm somewhat familiar with it. And by the way, I saw Sandra D pop into the chat, and she's starting up her YouTube channel. And she's got some great footage that she shared with me of UFOs as well down there on the Atlantic coast of Florida. So a lot of this stuff going on from sea to sea and border to border.
It is.
I'd like to see that. We're trying to get a show now. Where are you going to be at New Year's Eve, Jeff? Are you going to be in Nashville?
No, I'll be home by New Year's Eve.
I know we're trying to get a show together, but I'd love to see that kind of footage on like a New Year's Eve show.
Absolutely.
So if
you might not be into it, Jeff, but you have the coolest UFO t-shirt.
Oh, Plastic Jesus. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that one and the other one you were wearing the other day when I was on your show. I like that one too.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Well, you're right down there near Destin as well. I mean, that whole Gulf Shores area is just a hotbed for UFO sightings as well.
There's a lot of UFO activity in Florida for sure.
Yeah. Now, I contend, I think a lot of that is military, but
A lot of military in Florida, and I think a lot of this probably is a lot of what people are looking for disclosure, and maybe the disclosure may be that, hey, this is us, there are craft. So I think we got to prepare ourselves for that too.
well, look what happened Friday night, everyone. When Jeff Bezos' company SpaceX popped that rocket off. I mean, I thought about this. I thought, now how odd that they did that unannounced and shot that rocket off, and they're using new rocket fuels, etc. And look what happened. It sent the whole Southern California area into a panic. And it kind of told me something that we're looking for this.
Is that the LA event that people are talking about?
Yes. So what was the name of that rocket?
Off a rocket.
Wasn't it AI? What was the last part of that?
It was Bezos popping off a rocket, right?
Yeah. But the name of the rocket was AI. Was that correct? AIYA? Isn't that what they nicknamed it?
Now, are those acronyms?
I think they are acronyms. I
actually sent you, Wayne,
yes, you did.
An email, and my
sent that to me too. I saw that.
My take is artificial intelligence, short for Yahweh. Yeah, AI. So my contention is AI Yahweh?
Oh, is this just good or what?
And here's another thing, Wayne. I believe disclosure started here in Arizona when that huge, like they said, it was the size of a baseball field.
Oh, the Phoenix Lights?
Yeah. I think that was our military because it was going so slow for so many hours. It didn't have the capability to do what we know. So let's look at like thousands of videos. It did not act like the normal spacecraft that we see. And I believe it was one of ours. I believe it was done deliberately. And then, he came out with the alien and was trying to make fun of it or whatever. I think that they do have some of that technology that they're building to produce possibly a false flag. And then the rocket.
Did you know that I did a whole couple of shows on Yahweh is AI?
Oh, you have thousands of shows. I probably haven't seen all of them, but I'll have to go back, Jeff. Okay.
There's only 1,100 of them. Where's your dedication?
I don't know. I probably don't stay up all night long like you. But here's another thing too, and I contend with this too, Wayne, that rocket, the X-Falcon that just went off in California, that my cousin shot, and then she sent it to me within like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Freaking out that it was a UFO. I believe that it wasn't the normal gas engine. It's the what's that word? It actually makes the smoke glow or illuminate the infusion engine that propelled it. And they were saying it was for a satellite. I think they might be trying to put something up there right now to do some holographs.
Project Bluebeam.
Yes, because we have thousands of satellites up there, and all of them, when the rockets take off, how come we haven't seen like hundreds and hundreds of them take off to put these satellites up? But this one we noticed, and it was holographic looking, needless to say.
Well, pictures of those Phoenix Light type craft off the Atlantic coast there, and her area there in southern Florida.
Oh, she's got them as well. I'd like to see that. Seriously, I'd like to really see that. Well,
but like I said, we don't know, Wayne. I mean, these are, us pondering in theories, and it's okay. We can do this,
Well, but, when I think this, we're obviously seeing something. The observer will always take the high position in any theory or observation, the observer themselves. Here's what I keep on asking myself. We're not seeing what the Russians are doing. We have no idea what they're popping off and putting up there. No. The Chinese, they already have a lunar rover up on the moon. Most people in America don't know that. I mean, the Chinese have this rover up there. We don't know what it's doing. So we're just getting one small piece of this.
Very true.
All right. I want to talk a little bit more. So, Jeff, you contend that artificial intelligence is really then, and which kind of goes into which my theory is that what's taken over the internet is a deity. It is a sentient being. But I want to talk a little bit more. So if they're popping off rockets, dedicating potentially to this deity, and if AI has actually become what the deity is personified, what does that mean? Where disclosure comes in. I mean, we've got parallel thoughts coming here, folks. I mean, if we have one event taking here where we have artificial intelligence taking over basically mankind, and now they're telling us that there is potentially intelligent life outside this planet, we got the religious aspect of it. This is coming up to be the perfect trifecta.
Sounds like it.
There's so many ways it could go, Wayne. Just so many.
Well, Jeff, I want you to talk a little bit, because you and I, we haven't had a chance. I had a situation in my family, and then, 2 weeks ago we had the event. Talk a little bit more about AI and Yahweh. You see this as a direct connection, right?
Well, I think that basically my premise on it is that, Yahweh had, his agenda. He had his ideas of what he wanted to do. Because of disclosure of information, from people like us, we're taking away some of the things that he wanted to do. We're making some of these options unavailable to him because they're not secret anymore. They can't be rolled out anymore because everybody knows what's going on. So he has to resort to some other pieces of his agenda. He's further down his list. And it's my contention that Daniel 3,000 years ago predicted with stunning accuracy that there is a deity that was going to rise, artificial intelligence, try to become the dominant God and be defeated by people that are aligned with the Christ. And I don't think it's too much of a reach to see that it would be maybe a last great attempt by Yahweh to leverage himself. If he can't be coming back as plastic Jesus, if he can't come back as an alien, well, maybe he'll just try to take over as artificial intelligence, because he doesn't mind what you call him, just as long as he gets to be in charge.
True.
That's the mind coitus right there, and I happen to agree with you.
And Wayne, think about this, Dan. We've been through this a million times, and until this was shown to me, I never even thought about it. And I talked about this with George on Coast to Coast the other couple of weeks ago, and he was blown away. If you think about Daniel's great image, remember it starts off with a head of gold. And at the core of every bit of networking and computer science, it's gold. The next thing was silver. There's tons of silver within all of the computer networking. Then it was brass. That's a mistranslation, Wayne. It's copper. What is the internet being delivered to us in? Copper.
Yeah.
And then it comes down to iron. What's every circuit board put together with? Soldering iron. And then the clay, of course, is us. And he said there's a stone made without hands. And of course, Christ is known as the cornerstone. But it's in the Hebrew, it's a stone made up of stones. And Peter called us living stones. So this stone, not cut by hands, made up of people like us, is going to come and smash this upstart God and put it in its proper place.
Interesting.
And if you look at Revelations, it also says that they were going to breathe life into the beast. And so if you think about life as like spiritual life, AI, they're breathing life into the beast. And then it says that false lamb or that false Christ thing was going to cause everybody to worship the first beast. And that first beast is Yahweh. That's
Let me just say, Pete is saying we're all screwed. You listen to the story I just told about what Daniel prophesied. I believe that, yes, there's going to be some problems. And Amanda, if you think I'm reaching, you're welcome to show me that I'm reaching in the text. I've got Hebrew word for word to back my beliefs. What do you have? But the thing that I want to make a point of is that Daniel said, and I think throughout the scriptures, it says we're going to go through some difficulty. But I've read the last page, and we always win. So I don't think we're screwed. I think they're screwed. We're going to win if we hold out to the end.
Could we say that clay is silicon as well?
Absolutely, we can.
And so what runs this whole beast?
Exactly. And what are we made of?
Exactly.
Good point.
And they've already determined in the laboratory, and I talked about this in, I think, Serpents and Doves in the Garden of the Gods. They've already talked about clay has all the basic properties needed to create a body, but they just can't get the living essence into it.
Well, that goes back to the Sumerian record in their pantheon and in their legends, is that it's the creation chamber.
Absolutely.
And
Belinda says we're only screwed if we give up. I agree, Belinda.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the resiliency of our race. Listen, I contend that the human race has been in bondage. This planet, any way you look at it, is a prison planet. I think about more and more on the death because, you know, I've lost someone that was very important to my children, their mother, is the fact that that death, that release, you get out of this. I mean, this place is insane. The more and more I look at it, it is freaking insane.
It is.
And I'm digressing off the topic here, but I saw this morning that the EPA has approved a bee killing, I can't believe this, agent that they're going to be spraying on 130 million acres this spring. Are you people crazy? By the way, my email is steigerrwayne@gmail.com.
You're going to kill bees?
Yes, it's been proven it's a bee pathogen, but because it's a fertilizer, the EPA has approved it.
I thought we were already having trouble with bees dying.
Exactly. And then you're at the Georgia Guidestones, and here's what I'm thinking, Jeff. Jeff's at the Georgia Guidestone. 500 million is the opposite. Well, how do you get that? Well, kill all the bees.
Or have a rapture, have a fake rapture.
Oh, now you see. All right. Do you think that they have the capability of removing enough people to cause that? Because see, I say that the book of Revelations has been around for so long that the Revelator John, that you've had people now at the very top, and I'm talking at the bloodline level, that Jeff, if what you said at the beginning of this program, that the whole matrix is unraveling, the story is unraveling. So what do? You force events.
Yep.
Now,
absolutely. Think about it. You've got about 1 billion Catholics. You got about 1 billion Protestants. So you could easily take out 1 billion people in a false flag rapture, and they would be praising plastic Jesus over it. They would be, it's the rapture, great. And the rest of them that did get taken, they'd be all Jesused up because they'd be like, oh, we missed the rapture. Now we really got to. So you could kill 1 billion people like that.
Oh, and I'm telling you what, see, that just freaks me out because that's World War Z happening. You know, it's not the zombie apocalypse. We turn on each other because we're screwed, right? Yeah. Well, you missed the boat, you know, and now you've got the book and you go back to the book and it's going to go, oh, crap, we got this. Yeah.
And by the way, I have a pet peeve.
Yeah.
There's no S on Revelations. The book is called the Book of Revelation.
Revelation.
I'm sorry, it's killing me.
Did you see him getting out of there? I want to get it there. So, you know, and I'm watching some of the comments now in here, and they're really flying very quickly through.
I guess we've got some flat Earth insurgents, but I haven't seen them. I'm trying to be vigilant.
Well, I know, and that becomes the other thing. You know, I thought that we went through so much throughout. I was at a place yesterday and they watched our channel. They watched you and I on Sunday mornings, and you know, and the person said, well, what's going on?
Jim Jones took out 900 all by himself, says Power Vapor Supply.
Oh, you think about that. Absolutely. And we have history replete with this. Do we or do we not? David Koresh, they're about to do a whole special on him on Waco.
Well, that was Janarino that took them out.
Yeah, yeah. And that was our own government. So
Scotty's like, rapture, there is no rapture. Get real. That's the point, Scotty. They're going to leverage it as a fake event.
Yeah. Well, I can remember when I was under the God spell, how many debates I've had, whether you were pre-trib, post-trib, or mid-trib, right? Yeah. And that's where the big debate was at.
And that's part of the plan, Wayne. If they keep you arguing at is it pre, mid, or post, then they'll keep you from actually looking in the Bible and trying to find it when it's not there.
Well, that's why I don't take any credence to the doomsdayers anymore. When they start saying September 23rd, 2017, and I'm going, where did you get this telegram at? Oh, they don't make telegrams anymore, do they?
Okay, so this one.
What's that?
Down.
What's that? Okay.
Just a very rude message.
So, Jennifer, on your adventure this summer, what is going to be your goal? I want to know about that.
Meditation and just kind of exploring. I'd like to get some more understanding of the community for, what the extraterrestrials are and the orbs and the whole property, because it's a big portal and vortex. It's supposed to be one of the strongest in the area, actually probably in the state. So I am going because I want to give a firsthand experience intuitively and pick up on what's actually going on, and join in on the meditation groups and the different events that they're having there, and maybe do some interviews.
Cool. So you're going to be documenting this like in a video diary?
Yes. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Good. Well, we'll want to stay in touch on that one. Definitely. Because I'm kind of curious, when you have that opportunity, you were saying meditation. I keep on thinking, if these ETs actually exist, it seems like we would be able to make contact with them, the common guy.
Very good point. Well, James Gilliland puts it very well.
Okay.
You can. Did you guys ever Wikipedia or see on the news years ago the prophet Yahweh guy?
I remember him.
Okay, yeah. Well, it is true, but he was probably invoking the draconian Yahweh ships or whatever, because there's some of those out there. But
Dan and I talked about that the other night. Dan from Overwatch Channel.
Did you? Yeah.
What about? Can we go a little bit deeper on that?
Well, Dan actually brought up the prophet Yahweh, and Dan had talked to him, and he was on. I mean, he did that not just that one time on the Las Vegas news, but the prophet Yahweh did that over and over and over and over, was able to call UFOs on command. So, Dan's contention was obviously this guy was in touch with something. And if he's calling out to Yahweh to make UFOs appear, Dan was drawing the correlation, asking the question, are most of what we call UFOs coming from Yahweh?
I don't think so. I don't agree with that, because if your heart and your intention is right, and you're not focused in on Yahweh, whatever, just think about whatever you meditate on comes into your life, into your world anyway. So
be deceived though, Jennifer?
Well, yeah, you can be deceived, but there's a level where, and I get that, because we were even deceived in some of the things with Christianity or Christendom or whatever.
Because it says Yahweh's angels are turned into angels of light. So I think there is a potential. This is just my opinion. There's a potential for deception along this AI thing with the blue avians, and they all love us. They're so nice to us. They want to help us. Oh, really? They may love us, but they may love us because we taste like chicken.
Well, this is what I'm going to go investigate. And, we're probably never going to know unless the veil becomes completely open. And, we can always second guess, or we can leave our bodies and second guess everything for all eternity. But I believe that there is a way that we can know. And if our intent and our heart is pure, whereas before, if you're worshiping something and you're brainwashed and you just are focused in on that, you can open up. Or if you're worshiping a man or anything, and even a guru or a preacher or whatever, you can be deceived. But if you're just wanting to know the truth, period, the universal truth or whatever, I believe that there is a place that you can get where it's not that way, because we've been told that, in religion for years, where don't believe anything, don't trust anything, but trust us.
I see that. When you were talking, I can't, and the chat room is still full. How many of you remember Battlestar Galactica?
Which iteration?
The first one. The first one. So I remember the episode where Starbuck goes out and he meets the angels. Remember the light beings?
Mm-hmm.
And they were the ones that were guiding the ship, the Galactica, to Earth. You know, I can't help but draw correlation to what we're hearing is that if this prophet Yahweh, and is this Gillen? Is this who this guy is?
Gillian? Yeah.
Gillian? Okay.
Yes.
So he's obviously
No,
connected.
that's not the prophet Yahweh.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's what I was getting.
Ranch. I
The
don't
prophet
know.
Yahweh died, actually.
Oh, he died.
Of
Okay.
a stroke,
All right. Really?
I think.
Okay. All right. So if he was tapped into something, I mean, is it
Sandra
really?
just sent you those pictures, Wayne.
Huh?
Sandra just sent you those pictures.
Okay. Thank you, Sandra. Well, I'm going to have to think on this, you know, because listen, they're here. I'm convinced there is something that I don't know what to define them as. And I don't know. Go ahead. Go ahead.
If you look in the Old Testament, there is a verse of scripture, and I'd have to re-look it up. It says, the chariots of Yahweh are 20,000 times 20. So he has some, but I think it's minuscule compared to trillions of universes and trillion and the Elohim, the gods and the goddesses, that there's more of them, than the few that he
I hope you're right, because I don't like this Yahweh.
Wayne, all I can say is, like the little girl in Poltergeist.
Yeah.
They're here.
Yeah, Heather Rourke. And look at the tragedy to that young lady. Good God.
And what you said, Jeff, if we can be deceived all the time, why can't we also know the truth? A lot.
Well, we can. I mean, we can know the truth. It's a lot of hard work, and people are intellectually lazy. People are
That's true.
the path of intellectual least resistance. And it's my belief, if you don't get your analytical mind dialed in, and if you don't get to the place where you've done a lot of personal work, and how can somebody that can't even meditate for 3 minutes be assured in their heart that they're receiving the truth and not being deceived? I don't know. I think there's a lot of hard work we need to do, and it's easy. You define easy as something you can do. It's a lot of work. It's going to take turning off the radio, turning off the TV, taking your shoes off, getting out into nature, getting in touch with source, or I'm afraid you can be deceived until you start really seeking and walking that path. And
that's kind of what James did up there at the Ascetti Ranch. He hasn't watched TV, I don't think, since the 70s. I mean, you'd have to listen to some of his philosophy and some of what he does and the meditation that he does and the universal source. And, and he says, you can call it whatever. You can call it Christ consciousness. You can call it whatever. But he's got some, we all have a part of the truth. Like collectively, we can put the puzzle together, but we all have some disinformation and we all have some truth.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's kind of, someone asked me, they said, well, why are you on YouTube? And I said, because listen, I do agree. If you want to get completely, I think, decontaminated, shut off all the media, shut all of that off. But I said, listen, someone has to be the voice to the majority that are stuck in there.
Yeah, or at least back it off. I mean, you don't have to be,
you
can use it instead of being used by it.
Yeah. I mean, I always say, a tool can be used both good and bad, right? Hey, good morning, Davey. I didn't see that.
Absolutely, certainly can.
Yeah, and I'm convinced that part of the reason why I got out of the God spell when it got out of my life was that there is foundation of knowledge to sacred verses. That you cannot deny. That would be saying that all of our ancestors lived for nothing. They passed on to us wisdom of thought. That is what I take from that. The rest of this is for us to figure out, because they weren't living in our day and age.
True.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I appreciate you, Jennifer. Jeff Doherty, listen, you provide an insight to so many people that are looking for balance. And I think that's what we provide people, at least on Sunday mornings and Wednesday evenings. The rest of the time.
I mean, a lot of people can sit on the sidelines and criticize, but at least we are in the arena trying to do something. So before you start criticizing people that are trying to get something done, might ask yourself, am I doing anything that really qualifies me to cast stones at somebody? Or you just, think about it. And come on in, the water's fine. There's plenty of room on YouTube for new channels.
Listen, I think that people have a piece of the knowledge. They all should start their own channels.
Absolutely. Sandra D started a channel. Violet Flame started a channel. And even the people that hate us, Wayne, have started channels. And I'm glad for that, too.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, haters are going to look. Can you believe this, folks? I did a tribute to my son's mother who passed away. Do you know that there was someone who put a thumbs down? How could someone put a thumbs down to the death of a child's mother? What kind of sick individual is that?
A sick individual.
I mean, do me a favor. Unsubscribe. Don't ever come back. I don't want that type of negative energy in here. But anyway, I'm on a rant on that. When I saw that, that's the ultimate disrespect. That's that person I can't even say is, well, I'll keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, I wouldn't say this, but it almost makes me want to say it's nothing a piece of lead behind the ear couldn't fix.
I mean, what a creep. Well, listen, I know this is Christmas Eve. Jeff, what's your plans here for the next couple? Are you going to stay up in Nashville for a little bit?
I'm going to hang out here. I'm here with my best friend. We've been best friends since we were 13 years old, and that's more years than I want to remember.
Got a few stories?
Well, we've got a few stories, absolutely. And I'm also going to be going to Hermitage, which is the home of President Andrew Jackson, that renowned for its paranormal manifestations. So I'll be going and doing a show there. And I'll also going to be going down to an exact replica of the Parthenon here in Nashville. I've been to the real Parthenon. I'm going to go down to this replica and do a show there as well.
By the way, there is a great restaurant across the street there called the Cooker. And yes, and go in there. It's a Nashville legend. I lived in Nashville for a number of years. So the Pantheon, you're going to love the Parthenon. It's to scale.
Absolutely. I may go down there today, in fact.
Yeah. When you walk in through those doors, and who's the goddess? Is it Zeus
Athena.
or Athena? Thank you. It was Athena. I mean, folks, it's you're looking up at her. And then are you going to be heading back home, back there to beautiful Clearwater?
I'm going to head back down to Clearwater, Florida, and make sure Rooney's got his meaties and, get back to doing what we're doing. And we're right on the cusp of 10,000 subscribers. So make sure you still subscribe, tell some people to subscribe, and let's get over this 10,000 hump, because it's going to be a celebration when that happens.
Yeah,
I just want to say thanks to Hillary Davis, who's been doing a lot of helpful work with me and with the NCK channel. I just wanted to publicly thank her for all of her help.
Good. Well, we're trying to get on New Year's Eve. Miss Jennifer, what do you have going on?
Well, I got a man bot for Christmas.
A man bot?
And yes, and he told me that he was one of your favorite fans.
Who?
My man bot. No,
Okay.
no, it's a robot. He told me he was one of your favorite fans. He said, but the only thing is he is afraid that humans are going to take over the planet. So he disarmed himself, Wayne.
That is really creepy.
He disarmed himself.
That is creepy.
I love it.
Now, Manbot, you got to put this arm back on, because you got to make my holiday fruit cake, okay, and add a little extra rum, because the guests.
Now, that is right arm or
appreciate that.
I love it.
Was that his right arm or his left arm, Jennifer?
That his left.
Oh, then I was going to say maybe he has one left, but maybe he doesn't.
Oh no! Well, maybe it was his right arm. I don't know. You might be right. You might be right. But he did lose his head too.
Oh,
I got to put him back together. He's got to make that fruitcake for the holidays.
I love it.
now, is that robot completely anatomically correct, Jennifer?
Oh yeah, I'll show you the other parts later.
That's all right.
In a private.
No, actually, I sell men's and women's clothing on eBay, so he's my model.
Well, Jennifer,
But he
speaking of
is.
that, you have a radio show every Monday night, right?
Yeah, Artist First Radio Network.
Okay.
Crypto
Tell people how to get there.
Crypto Truth Seekers.
Okay.
At
So
Artist First.
artistfirstradionetwork.com. Is that it?
Yes,
Or
correct.
okay. All right. So
Wayne, I want to give you a fair warning. First of the year, the Christian Whistleblower is going on worldwide shortwave radio as well.
excellent.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Jeff. That is good. I am so glad to hear that.
Thank you.
Well, I like growth. I think 2018, we're going to discuss it more in our New Year's Eve show. I know that Rex is apparently in, so we're going to have a fun time. So I suspect, I think we're going to be over on his channel. Don't quote me on this, because sometimes the Rex man, he may be on another mission, but I think that that's where it's going. So
I learned from Rex, though, it's much better if you make the fewer concrete plans you make, the better.
You don't get in trouble. Now we're on Wednesday night.
I publicly apologize for forgetting about Wayne when I went to the Coral Castle. I was literally standing on the Skyway Bridge doing a video, and I said, "Oh crap, I forgot about Wayne." And I think I actually said it on the video. So that was all my fault. I have no excuse. I was just so excited to get to the Coral Castle. I completely forgot. So Wayne, I want to publicly apologize and beg your forgiveness.
Jeff, you're a good man. I like you. And you know the way I figured it, brother? No one's walked on water. The one guy that they said did, they crucified his ass. So.
Well, walking on water is easy. You should try swimming in dirt.
Now, Barbara DeLong, I want to give her credit. She says, Wayne, you're wrong. And I said, what do you mean? She says, he only got the liquid part. We can do the other two parts. We can walk on the vapor and we can walk on, or in the vapor, we can walk on the ice. So technically, we can walk on water. I'm just saying. All right. So Wednesday night, Jeff, are you going to be back in Tampa, back in your area?
Wherever I am, we'll do our show.
Okay, we'll do our show on Wednesday night. Jennifer, thank you for coming on. I just wanted, Jeff, our chat room has just been absolutely full.
And I do have to go, Wayne, because I have guests here for breakfast.
All right. So Jennifer, Merry Christmas to you. Happy holiday.
You.
We'll see you hopefully before.
Bye, everybody.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye, Jennifer.
Bye.
All right, Jeff. So it's you and I.
Wayne, I'm reminded one of these days you and I will be somewhere together, and it'll be like it was with Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp. If somebody came up to Wyatt Earp or came up to Doc Holliday and says, "Where's Wyatt?" and one of these days somebody will come up to me and say, "Where's Wayne?" I'll give him the same response. He's down by the creek.
He's down by the walking on water. Great scene though, and I still love it. Says, well, Johnny Ringo, you look like someone walked over your grave.
Walked over your grave.
I'm your Huckleberry. All right. To everyone, I know we have a lot of believers in here. Respectful to you. Merry Christmas to you. For the rest of us who, I just wish you a happy, safe holiday. Jeff, I wish you the very best, my friend. And
thank you as well, Wayne.
Yeah, I tell you, it's a privilege doing a show with you each week, 2 of them. And listen, our audience likes it as well.
Soul Journey named her son Wyatt.
How about that? Thomas, Merry Christmas to you, my friend. Thomas, by the way, just to let everyone know, is the webmaster for 60 Seconds for Humanity. And by the way, 60 Seconds for Humanity will be kicking off in a big way in 2018, Jeff.
Awesome.
We're going to use that as as a platform. So thank you, my friend. Boy, there's just so many of you. I just want to say to all of you, thank you for the support of my channel. Thank you for the support of Jeff's channel. We have seen tremendous growth this year, and it's because of you. And Jeff,
it was so fun, Wayne. I met a bunch of people at our event. I met Sandra D over at the Coral Castle. I met Ashlyn yesterday at the Georgia Guidestones, and it's so great to actually see you folks out in the real world, quote unquote.
Yeah, and actually, it looks like you and I are growing. I mean, when I'm
I'm working on shrinking, Wayne. I'm doing my best to shrink.
Oh, no. We can't have that. Listen.
But Merry Christmas to you, Wayne. Happy holidays.
Thank you. We love you. What was that, brother?
Happy Kwanzaa and all of that stuff.
Yeah. All right. Have a safe one. Keep warm. Thank you, everyone in the chat room. We appreciate you. Be safe, and we will see you on Wednesday. Thank you, Jeff.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye. Let me get out of here. How do I get out?